Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Weekly Wildlife Wisdom. As so far, I have been your host, Zero Yeti. Let's go into it. The first animal of the week being the olive baboon, also known as the Anubis baboon or the Savannah baboon, is a member of the Old World monkey family Cercopithecidae, and the species is the most wide-ranging of all baboons, inhabiting a strip of 25 equatorial African countries, very nearly ranging from the east to west coast of the continent. Consequently, the olive baboon also inhabits a wide range of habitats, including savannas, scrublands, dry forests, mountain steppes, cloud forests, wetlands, tropical rainforests, and deserts. They are opportunistic omnivores known to feed on a wide variety of plants and invertebrates, and are also known to work together to actively hunt small game, such as lizards, snakes, rodents, birds, other primates, wild goats, and even gazelles. The olive baboon are themselves preyed upon by hyenas, lions, cheetahs, leopards, chimpanzees, and crocodiles. Males are significantly larger than females, averaging around 2.5 feet tall, 4 feet in length, and 55 pounds in weight, compared to females, which stand around 2 feet tall, 3 feet long, and 35 pounds in weight. Like most baboons, the olive baboon has an elongated dog-like muzzle, and its tail almost looks as if it is broken, as it is erect for the first quarter, after which it droops down sharply. The olive baboon is named for its coat, which at a distance is a shade of greenish-gray, but at closer range it is made up of multicolored rings of yellow, brown, and black hairs. Males also sport a mane around the neck and shoulders, and olive baboons tend to live in female-led, strictly hierarchical troops of anywhere from 15 to 150 members, consisting of a few males, many females, and their young, with each baboon having a distinct ranking depending on its dominance, familial line, and social alliances within the troop. Olive baboons are polygandrous, with both males and females mating with multiple partners year-round. After around a 187-day pregnancy, females typically give birth to 1 to 2 babies, which are almost completely reliant on their mothers for the first 5 to 6 months of their life. However, other adults, especially including adult females and particularly adult males, will also help with the rearing, grooming, and protection of the young. Under ideal conditions, an olive baboon will reach sexual maturity around 7 to 10 years of age and may live up to 30 years. Next up is the neon tetra, which is a freshwater fish in the family Characiidae in the order Charachiriformes, and is named to the South American countries of Colombia, Peru, and Brazil, where it can be found throughout the Blackwater and Clearwater streams of the Amazon River basin. The neon tetra is an incredibly popular fish amongst aquarium freshwater hobbyists, with neon tetras being one of the most widely kept tropical fish species in the world. Because of this, they have been introduced to Singapore and the southern United States. They are extremely social animals, living in schools of several dozen to several hundred individuals, as they swim around feeding on worms, insect larvae, fish eggs, crustaceans, diatoms, and other plant materials. Reaching 1 to 1.5 inches in length, neon tetra typically sport light blue-black over a silver-white abdomen, and is characterized by iridescent blue and red horizontal stripes along each side of the fish, with the rest of the fish being partially transparent. Sexual dimorphism is slight, with females having a slightly larger belly and a bent iridescent stripe as compared to the male's straight stripe. During the night, the blue and red become gray or black as the fish rests, with the color reactivating once the fish becomes active in the morning. This particular change is thanks to guanine crystals in their cells that grant the tetra the capacity of changing the color of its iridescent stripe in response to lighting conditions. Breeding occurs year-round depending on resource availability and the water temperature as well as water pH. Neons are an egg-scattering species, which means the males typically chase females around, who then release up to 100 eggs along mosses and other plants, which the males then fertilize. Said eggs are light-sensitive and may hatch in as little as 24 hours, and the fry developed quickly, becoming free-swimming after around 4 days. Next up, we have... Under ideal conditions, a neon tetra will reach sexual maturity around 12 weeks of age and may live up to 10 years. Next up, we have the Bactrian camel, also known as the Mongolian camel, the two-humped camel, or the domestic Bactrian camel. It is a large, even-toed ungulate in the family Camelidae, native to the steppes and deserts of Central Asia. Domesticated Bactrian camels have served as pack animals in Inter-Asia since their domestication some 6,500 plus years ago. With its tolerance for cold, drought, and high altitudes, it enabled the travel of caravans along the Silk Road. Bactrian camels were domesticated. Whether domesticated or feral, are a separate species from the wild Bactrian camel, which is the only true wild as opposed to feral species of camelid in the Old World. Bactrian camels are a diurnal species, sleeping in the open at night and foraging for food during the day. They are primarily herbivorous with tough mouths and strong stomachs that can ingest virtually any kind of vegetation. In more extreme conditions, they may eat any material they find, such as rope, snow, linen, clay bricks, salt rock, leather, paper, canvas, snow, wool, and even the flesh and bones of carcasses. Reaching 8 to 13 feet in length, 7 to 8.5 feet tall, and 660 to 2,200 pounds in weight, Bactrian camels are the largest species of camel on Earth. They sport a woolly coat that varies in color from dark brown to sandy beige, with a mane and beard of darker, long hair running along the head and throat. The shaggy winter coat is shed extremely rapidly, with huge sections peeling off at once, appearing as if it was sloppily shorn. The two humps on the back are composed of fat, and these camels have long eyelashes along with sealable nostrils to help keep out wind, sand, and dust. The two broad, rough, calloused toes on each foot have undivided soles and are able to spread widely as an adaptation to walking on sand. Bactrian camels are social animals, living in caravans up to 30 individuals in the wild, typically comprised of a dominant male, a few satellite males, several females, and their young. The dominant male leads the caravan on their migrations, and most males tend to live solitary or in bachelor herds until they acquire their own harem of females. Mating occurs in accordance to resource availability, with females giving birth to 1 to 2 calves after a 13-month pregnancy. Said young will remain with their mother and the herd until they are between 3 and 5 years of age. Under ideal conditions, a Bactrian camel may live up to 50 years. Next up, we have the Portuguese Man-O-War, also known as the Pacific Man-O-War, the Indo-Pacific Man-O-War, the Blue Bottle, or simply the Man-O-War. It is a species of marine hydrozoan in the genus Physalia, of which it is the only species, and in turn, Physalia is the only genus in the family Physalidae. The Man-O-War can be found throughout the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, where it drifts along the ocean's surface. The Portuguese Man-O-War is a conspicuous member of the Ntvtiko, or the Ntvtiko, the community of organisms that live on the ocean's surface. It possesses powerful, painful venom strong enough to immobilize and on rare occasions kill humans. Although it superficially resembles a jellyfish, the Portuguese Man-O-War is in fact a siphonophore, and like all siphonophores, is a colonial organism which is made up of many smaller units called zooids. All zooids in a colony are genetically identical and fulfill specialized functions such as feeding, reproduction, and homeostasis, allowing them together to form the colony and operate the colony as if it were a single individual. New zooids are added by budding as the colony grows. There are 7 different kinds of zooids, being gonophores, nectophores, vestigial nectophores, free gastrozoids, tentacle-bearing zooids, gonozoids, and gonopalpodes. The phoenometophore, or gas bladder, is the most conspicuous part of the Man-O-War. It's translucent and tinged in blue, purple, pink, or mauve, and may be 3 to 12 inches long and rise up to 6 inches above the water. The phoenometophore functions as both a flotation device and a sail for the colony, allowing the colony to move along with prevailing winds, and it can be deflated to allow the colony to fully submerge under the water. The colony hunts and feeds through cooperation of the gastrozoids and the tentacle-bearing zooids. The latter are equipped with tentacles, which can reach 30 to 100 feet in length, and each tentacle bears tiny coiled thread-like structures called pneumocytes. The pneumocytes, or nematocytes, trigger and inject venom on contact, stinging and paralyzing victims such as squids, crustaceans, and fish. Contraction of the tentacles drags the prey inward into range of the gastrozoids, which then surround and digest the food by secreting enzymes, then pass those nutrients along to the rest of the colony. Despite their size and danger, man-o'-wars are themselves regularly preyed upon by loggerhead and leatherback sea turtles, ocean sunfish, blanket octopus, violet snails, blue dragons, and the man-o'-war fish. Next up is the boa constrictor, also known as the red-tailed boa or the common boa. It is a species of large, non-venomous, heavy-bodied snake in the family Boidae that is native throughout much of tropical South America and parts of the Caribbean, including Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, the Florida Keys, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Brazil, Bolivia, Uruguay, and Argentina. Here they can be found in a wide variety of habitats, including dry forest, grasslands, semi-desert, swamps, and in particular tropical rainforests. They are a nocturnal and semi-arboreal species, and emerging at night to hunt prey such as rodents, lizards, bats, amphibians, various birds, monkeys, and even the occasional larger prey such as ocelot or a wild pig. Depending on the locality, a boa constrictor can reach anywhere from 3 to 14 feet in length and 10 to upwards of 60 pounds in weight. Clear sexual dimorphism is seen in this species, with females generally being over a third larger than males in both length and girth. Coloring of boa constrictors can vary greatly depending on locality. However, they are generally a brown, gray, or cream base color patterned with brown or reddish-brown saddles that become more pronounced towards the tail. This coloring gives the boa constrictor species the name common red-tailed boas. The coloring works as a very effective camouflage in the jungles and forests of its natural range, and the mating season typically occurs from April to August, during which time snakes will typically mate with several partners. And while reproduction in boas is almost exclusively sexual, they are also known to occasionally reproduce asexually via parthenogenesis, wherein females can reproduce without the aid of males, albeit to only female offspring. Regardless of the method, boa constrictors are viviparous, and the females give birth to 10 to 65 live young after a 100 to 120 day gestation period. The young are independent at birth and grow rapidly within the first few years, shedding regularly about once every 1 to 2 months. Under ideal conditions, a boa constrictor will reach sexual maturity around 3 to 4 years of age and may live up to 30 years. Next up is the red-crowned crane, which is also known as the Manchurian crane or the Japanese crane. It is a species of large East Asian crane, the genus Grus. In the spring and summer, the migratory patterns of the red-crowned crane are that they breed in Siberia, northeastern China, and northeastern Mongolia before migrating in the fall to overwinter in the Korean Peninsula, Taiwan, and east-central China. In addition to the migratory populations, there is a resident population on Japan's Hokkaido Island. These birds inhabit wetlands, marshes, rivers, paddy fields, mud flats, and tidal flats where they feed upon crustaceans, amphibians, insects, mollusks, fish, small reptiles, rice, parsley, carrots, red buds, acorns, buckwheat, and a variety of water plants. They are a somewhat social species, typically living in mated pairs or small related flocks, and congregating in flocks of up to 80 strong in order to migrate and breed. They stand around 5 to 5.5 feet tall, weighing around 10 to 23 pounds, and sport a 7.5 to 8.5 foot wingspan. Males tend to be heavier than females. In both sexes, the plumage is white, with black tail feathers, black neck and face, as well as a row of black feathers on the wings. The bill is olive green, and their legs are grayish black. Then they are named for their distinctive patch of bare red skin at the top of their head, and the mating season occurs from April to May, during which time pairs will perform courtship rituals called duetst, where they perform synchronous dances consisting of hops, spins, skips, jumps, calls, bows, wing beats, neck shaking, and strutting in unison. The pair will work together then to construct a nest out of twigs and grasses, where a female will lay 1 to 3 eggs, which have both parents incubate in shifts for around 30 days. Once hatched, chicks are fed and cared for by both parents until they leave the nest at around 2.5 years old, but may remain by their parent's side for another year. Under ideal conditions, a red-crowned crane will reach sexual maturity around 3 to 4 years of age and may live upwards of 25 years. Next up is Tiktaalik, which is an extinct genus of Sarcopterygian or lobed fin fish. that lived throughout what is now the Arctic Circle during the Frasnian stage of the late Devonian period, around 377 to 372 million years ago. The first remains of Tiktaalik, consisting of 3 partially complete skeletons, were found in 2004 in the Fran Formation of the Ellesmere Island in Nunavut, Canada. The discovery was made by Dr. Edward B. Dushkler, Dr. Neil H. Shubin, and Professor Farnish A. Jenkins, Jr., with the name Tiktaalik being an Inuktitut word meaning large freshwater fish. The species name Rosea referring to the donors who funded the expedition. Reaching 4 to 8 feet in length, Tiktaalik is a non-tetrapod member of the bony fish, complete with scales and gills, but sports a triangular flattened head and many unique features indicative of later tetrapods. It had a well-developed flexible neck, allowing it to move its head without having to move much of its body as well, allowing it to more easily hunt in shallows where body movement would have been restricted. The rib cage is quite sturdy, especially when compared to other fish, and would have helped the animal support its weight anytime it ventured outside of a fully aquatic habitat. Said ribcage would have also supported strong primitive lungs, which would have allowed Tiktaalik to breathe atmospheric oxygen, enabling it to live in oxygen-poor waters or survive long periods outside of water. Its unusual cleaver-shaped fins have thin ray bones for paddling like most fish, but they also have sturdy interior bones that would have allowed Tiktaalik to prop itself up in shallow water and use its limbs for support as most four-legged animals do today. These characteristics mark Tiktaalik as a crucial transition fossil, a link in evolution from swimming fish to four-legged vertebrates. This and similar animals might be the common ancestors to all vertebrate terrestrial fauna, such as amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. As always, take care to my guides, gals, and my binary pals. Have a wonderful day.